Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic, Atlam. Thank you so much for confirming. We're going to jump right into it. Welcome, one and all, to the Dungeon Alchemist map-making show. My name is Mac, the community manager of Dungeon Alchemist. We have a very special show for you today. Oops, I'm in the wrong scene. Still in the wrong scene. What is going on? There it is. Okay. Let me show you today's itinerary. I am really struggling. There it is. I apologize for that. Thought I had it pulled up. So today's itinerary is as follows. Our first segment, Damn News, will discuss Plague Doctor assets and the Steam Winter Sale, as well as a couple other areas of importance. Under the Damn User segment, our interview is with a infamous cartographer in our community and one of our moderators, Asmodeus. The Damn Question segment, a Dungeon Alchemist Q&A held in AMA format, will be afterwards. You will be able to ask Asmodeus questions during his segment, but the question segment following is more directly related to Dungeon Alchemist, its development, etc. The Damn Workshop segment will be discussing markets and shops, and Damn Features will be discussing effects and bug reporting today. I just want to make sure the stream is going through on every platform before we dive in. So we have got Twitch, we have got Steam, we have got, let's make sure TikTok is coming through. If there is anyone on YouTube that wants to confirm that they're good, or Facebook, that would be fantastic. Uh-oh, we're getting an echo. I just fixed it. Okay. Jeweled Foxes, how you doing? Rev, Chim, Sack, Svenster. We've got a loaded crowd today. It's going to be fun. So let's dive right into it. Our first segment of the day. Damn News. First off, I'm just going to go into... Oh, I moved my camera. Sorry about that. That is intentional, and you'll find out soon why. Let me just load up this video stream or feed. Or actually, is this? Yeah, this is a video. So, in the next update, they'll be adding a whole bunch of Plague Doctor assets that are quite macabre, if you ask me. They're grim. But you've got some masks, syringes, a magnifying glass, all sorts of tools, etc. Facebook's good, YouTube's good, glad to hear it. So, the next update will be including a whole assortment of kind of dark assets, if you will. Additionally, one thing I wanted to discuss during this segment is the sale. In fact, I kind of forgot to add a sale watermark to all of this. I probably should. You know what? Let me hurry and do that. I'm going to do it manually because I just oversight. I've got one on hand. So while we're doing this, there we go. That's perfect. Add that in this corner for now. Cool. Gonna hide me down here for just a second. Anyway, everyone, this is a new one. This will be a stock asset, the magnifying glass you see here. So just a reminder, Dungeon Alchemist is on sale for 20% off between now and January 5th. So if you were looking to, you know, kind of give yourself an amazing gift for the holidays, or maybe gift that DM you know and love, with an amazing map-making tool for your campaigns. Maybe you have a DM friend who is starting their own campaign. You want to get them started off right. Keep that in mind throughout the holidays. as Dungeon Alchemist is currently 20% off, I believe. And yeah, such a great deal to be held. To behold, I should say. Fix this icon there. So how's everyone's day going? How was everyone's week? We haven't spoken really on stream since Monday for most of you, so I'd like to hear how your week is going. Music's a bit high, good to know. You turn that down. If it's too high, I want to know that immediately. Is that better? In fact, if anything, I want it really low. Okay, so one last thing to cover in the news segment. Apparently, there was a bug caused by Cloudflare on the back end, kind of code stuff for Hero Forge. And it caused a disconnection issue or a linking issue with numerous accounts where not all their tokens were showing up. So if you over the last few days were having issues with not all your tokens or new tokens showing up with your Hero Forge linking, that was why. They got to the root of it. They patched it out. It's all sorted. So, we had a few complaints on our end and we couldn't figure out what it was after numerous bits of testing from the devs. And then we heard back from them and a couple of community members who had heard from them that they had fixed it. So it's good to know that that's taken care of. Important news, regardless of who you are. Anyway, let's move on to our next segment. Really quickly, I'm going to... Oh, yep, there he is. I'm going to move my camera up. Asmodeus, I hope you're ready to go, my friend. Give me 1 second. We're going to pull up your camera. There it is. There he is. Can everyone see him? Oh, goodness. I'm going to move my camera back down. I am struggling today. It's locked. That's why it wouldn't move. Okay. Can everyone hear him? Let's do a quick test. Say something really quick, Asmodeus.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Can we hear him, crowd? Very quiet.
A bit too soft.
Okay, let me turn him up a bit. Okay, we can remedy that. That's what Mac's here for. Turn him up. Say something again, my friend.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Test. I'm gonna turn my mic down a little bit. He's still quite quiet. Hold on. Let me mute the music. Say something one more time.
Testing 1 2 3.
Huh.
Testing 1 2 3.
Is that better? Okay, I had to just turn the music off and run you through the main channel. I don't know why they weren't hearing you through the beta channel. Say something one more time and then we're going to dive into it. I'm not hearing you at all now. Great. Did you mute yourself there? Oh, no. Why? Does everyone hear him? Because I'm not hearing him at all now. Yeah, the audio's gone, but your video's there. It like just disconnected randomly. 1 second. Maybe we could disconnect this call and reconnect it. You didn't change your input or anything, right? I don't hear you, so you may have to signal. I can see you. Here, I'm going to disconnect and reconnect. 1 second. We may have to have you rejoin the thing, the link I sent you earlier. I'm going to end it really quick and we'll have you rejoin. I don't know what just happened. Sorry, everyone. This is kind of a new thing for me, having someone join with a video cam. So one moment. I don't know why it generated a new link. It might have just done that on its own. Sorry about that, everyone, but we'll get right into the segment shortly. While we're waiting, I hope everyone's doing okay and had an amazing week. I just sent you a new link, Asmodeus. A brand new link. If that one doesn't work, let me generate a brand new one. Here, I got a brand new one. That's odd. How you doing, Space Monkey? Welcome, welcome. Sorry for the minor technical difficulties. We had this all figured out prior to stream. Asmodeus, Discord message me, bud. I just sent you a brand new link in Discord. I am wonderful, Artful Darkness. How are you? Oh, there he is. Okay, show on stream. Can we hear him?
Testing 1 2 3.
Okay.
Testing 1 2 3.
I can see you. I can hear you. Can you all hear him?
All right, we're good.
Some kind of. Well, if you see the walls are padded, so you could make a deduction from there, Lizzie. Everyone can hear him, even over on Facebook. You can hear. Okay, we've got you all across the board. I'm not going to mess with anything else. I'm so sorry, my friend, that this has been happening. I apologize for the frustrations and technical goblins diving into the stream today. Welcome, everyone, to the Damn Show. We've got an amazing guest today with Asmodeus, who some of you may not recognize the name, but some of you might. He's a moderator on our streams and in our Discord, but also he goes under another name that you might recognize from our, Steam Workshop, where he shared hundreds of thousands of assets under the moniker Dallas RT. So he constantly is sharing 3D models for you to use in your maps, and has quite a prolific repository on his own. Before we dive into this further, I just want to say thank you to him for all his efforts and, community engagement. And also, just like congratulate him for all the amount of assets and, work and time he's put into that. He's made videos, he's done interviews, he's done a lot of help in the back end with community members in our Discord, channels, support, threads, but also DMs privately with various community members, teaching them, guiding them through the process of learning how to make assets and import them to Dungeon Alchemist. So, everyone, if we could give him like a round of applause and a warm welcome. And then, I just want to give you a chance to introduce yourself, Asmodeus, after that brief moment there, that introduction from me. And, and we'll dive into questions after you have a moment to, explain your background with Dungeon Alchemist, with 3D modeling, and, what is your, your reason and your passion behind what you do with this community?
Well, First, let me introduce myself again. I'm Asmodeus. I'm one of the moderators of the site and everything. For me, I came to loving 3D modeling at a very young age. In fact, before there was a 3D Max or Cinema 4D or even Blender, back then you had some very, very basic programs that allowed you to create some very blocky things like think of Minecraft. In 1990, 3D Max and Cinema 4D were released, and I took to those on my own, self-taught and everything. And basically, when I turned 19, with what little portfolio I had and everything, I went to Disney. I got interviewed. The first time I was interviewed by a gentleman said that um, my work was trash, basically. that it didn't fit the Disney style. It didn't fit the genre that they were looking for. And I remember leaving, and the secretary outside said, "Well, I hope you had a good interview and everything." And I had made the comment that, for a place that's supposed to be magical and represent, thoughts and ideas, and a place where, you can think outside the box, this place isn't it. Well, just by luck, Roy Disney just happened to be in that same area and heard me. And he called me over, asked me why I said what I said. I told him what happened. He took a look at my portfolio, and he spoke with me, and I told him what I saw. I told him that, that right now everything's hand shaded. You have drawers, you have artists, fantastic, smart, wonderful, talented people, but computer are going to be able to handle texturing and doing a lot more as we grow. And I told him I could see that, and I knew that was where it was going. And he was very impressed and everything, and he hired me on the spot. So since then, I've been with Disney, and then through them Pixar. Originally, I started out as a gopher, meaning go for this, go for that, fetch this, fetch that, and then slowly started in the animation department, learning from everything from onion skinning to the what you would call your cell shading, to watching how they would hand paint the cells for your animation. And I knew that even then that computerized graphics could take those single shots and color them faster, quicker, with the same matching tone versus hand. So those were things that just basically over the years that they realized was possible. And I got into their first 3D group, and I was made a project manager. And then from there, I started with some of remember Toy Story and everything. Been through all of them, including many more, including the new Toy Story 5 coming out. And I went from there up the ladder to where now I'm in charge of the complete West Coast side division of Pixar Disney imaging director department. So otherwise than that, on my free time, which I enjoy and I like. Excuse me?
Mr. Business over here. No, I already knew that. I just think it might be news for a lot of our communities. So I just wanted to let that sink in for a minute. So Asmodeus kind of knows what he's doing when it comes to 3D modeling, you might say. Especially if he's got his hands in Pixar, which has been basically on the forefront of, 3D animation for the last 30 years, basically.
I would say I have 2 petabytes of storage of textures, animations, and models. That is a lot. But off those 2 petabyte, I'll bring something else in and change and add it, since I've already got base messes of animals and people. And I like, my personal is not the Disney style, but I like the more realistic, like D&D, which I still play and everything. So I create models for Dungeons and Dragons.
Realistic fantasy models.
Right. We actually had, and I can tell you when they did the D&D movie, we did have Wizards of the Coast here, and we actually had to create 3D models of certain monsters. And when you do that, you got to make clay representations or print them out, stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it.
That's awesome. So moving on from that, I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
And then also our community is starting to put questions in chat, which Atlam is compiling for us. Thank
Okay.
goodness. Atlam, you're amazing. Thank you for all you do. I got a nice little backdrop here, which we'll dive into more later. But for now, let me grab my questions here. I only have a couple that are pretty, softball questions, I think. There might be one hardball in there. We'll see. We'll see. So let's start with, what is your most favorite asset that you've shared on the Steam Workshop?
Wow. Most favorite asset.
I probably should have asked you this preemptively so I could pull it up, but I'm ready to. I've got my fingers ready on the keyboard.
I've done so many, but I got to probably say the most recent one of the little gremlin, which
Little
was
Gremlin?
simple. Yeah.
What, it's just titled Little Gremlin?
Or goblin.
Little Goblin?
Yeah.
Why is this one your favorite?
It was originally from a model that was supposed to be designed for Toy Story, which we never introduced. And I loved it. I liked it.
Why not finding this?
I don't see it in there.
You sure it's public?
Yeah, it is published. It's out there.
And it's called just Goblin or Little Goblin?
Try. If it's got Goblin, it should pull up all gums. Try Gremlin.
You put up so many you don't even. Oh no! You know what? You
What?
might have also put the name together like you used to. There it is, Gremlin.
There you go. And I like that, and it is animated.
Let's download
And it was
them and
originally
put them in the
supposed to
map really
be,
quick.
and I loved it. I thought it was cute.
2
I really
petabytes
did.
is actually quite a lot of data, Sax. Like, that's insane. It's like more than some small cities and maybe even states have for their
Mhm.
entire database. So it's impressive. I've got my next question here while we've got this little gremlin guy in the background.
Okay.
Are you currently running a campaign?
Yes.
And are you running one or multiple?
One at the moment.
One at the moment. And
Yeah.
how long have you been running that campaign?
About 6 months now.
6 months.
6 months.
What's the longest campaign you've ever ran?
4 years.
4 years. That's impressive. So with your current group, is this a group of friends? Is this family? Like, what's the group about that you've got?
A group
right
of friends, because we do hook up through Foundry, and we're all over. But yeah, basically a group of friends.
now? Awesome. That's fantastic. And how big is the group?
There's 6 of us.
6 people. Are you using Dungeon Alchemist maps for this campaign?
I sure am.
That's fantastic news. Fantastic news. Sorry to just kind of dive down that, branch a little bit, but I like to hear a little bit about the background of your campaigns and
So-
what you've been working on. So is there anything interesting your players have been doing lately, or is there any new maps you've been introducing to them lately that they appreciated?
They're actually in a city right now, which I had built with Dungeon Alchemist, doing the role playing part right now. But basically, the whole idea is that they're going to head towards a council of dragons that are about to face a war with the undersea folk. So they're actually going to have to go underwater and battle, and some diplomacy and everything. That's where all this is headed.
Do you have anyone in the party who leans towards diplomacy, or they usually fight first, ask questions later?
Actually, it's kind of funny because our ranger's more the diplomatic. We've got a dwarf paladin who is like, even though he's a paladin, I mean, he's just like kill. I've got a purple knight elf. She's not bad and everything. She's quiet, but she's not the diplomatic kind. But she at least is the kind that wants to make friends with everybody.
Cool.
Can I pet it?
That's
Then I've got a
fantastic.
reborn warlock, basically. I've got, like I said, the ranger, and I do have a shifter monk
Oh
in the
my goodness.
party.
A shifter monk?
Yep,
That's an interesting combination.
that's what he wanted to play.
I think it's cool. I think it's a neat combination. Hey, Highland Lass, how are you? So we've had a few people kind of come in. People have been asking questions. Atlam's been compiling a list for us. I've got a couple more questions, though. What is your favorite Dungeon Alchemist feature?
I'd probably have to say my favorite Dungeon Alchemist feature is the ability to what do you call it, copy things over like the stumps and everything. Create random stumps and just lay them out and paste and paint all over the map.
So you mean the object brush? The custom
Yes.
object brush?
Yeah.
Gotcha. That is a really neat tool. And what he's talking about is you could take any object in a map. Once you select it, you can go to the object panel. And then you can come up here to the second object tab, which is paint objects. Excuse me. And then you hit create brush from selected object. So if there is room, you can start painting that object based on the patterning you've set here, the brush size, the density. And you even have advanced settings where you can set, their scale average to be smaller, larger, normal. Are they random scaled? So they're all different sizes. Do they rotate and have different, rotations when they're generated? So they look more, random than the same. But in this case, it looks really silly. It's kind of fun. So
Mhm.
that's where this tool comes in handy. I mean, we already have a whole palette of brushes, but being able to turn an object into any brush you want, or into a brush, any object you want into a brush, is a very powerful tool, for sure. Okay, so next question. What new assets are you currently working on? I want to peel back the curtain a little bit and learn what you're currently working on.
Well, I've kind of held off on doing any of the cracks and stuff like that since that's going to be coming out.
But the
But
decal
what I
tool?
have been adding is like some new floors, holding off on adding walls a little bit. But one of the things is that um, as wonderful as the floors are that we've got, we could use some more styles, basically.
It
So,
would be nice to have some more diversity.
right. And I'm creating some more Fey type plants,
Oh, cool.
the more colorful ones that they have in the Fey world and everything, with some weird fruit and everything. I was talking with Dag about putting out a tree with two parts, the trunk and the leaves. But the leaves, again, you would be able to STL color them, and the trunk you could STL, but you'd have to bring them together.
So
So
you
it
just
gives,
merge the two. You might even
yeah,
want to add links to each one in their descriptions after the fact, so they're like, you know
right.
what I
That's what I
mean?
was trying to figure out the best way to do
That's
this.
probably
But
the best way, and then you can even put them in a collection together. But that's
right, right.
whatever.
And then this way the people can choose the colors of the weird shapes and
So for
everything and all
those
that.
wondering what he's talking about, the idea is a two-part upload to the workshop that would be two assets, essentially the trunk and branches of a tree, and then all the they look almost susical in nature. They were like bulbs that went onto the tree that would be like, they could be any color really, because both
Right,
of these are STLs. STL files are unique in Dungeon Alchemist. STLs are really meant for like 3D printing or prototyping. They're not meant to be colorized, and they don't hold color data or shader information. So the devs opted to give you color filters for them. When a 3D asset is imported that's like a token that's an STL, you can assign a solid color to it. So let me give you an example here really quick. I have one that I've imported, this snail shell here, right? This is a flat gray among a bunch of tokens on the workshop similarly, but then you have all these color options available. So I could make it gold or, green or whatever. And these could be even condition statuses for a token if you wanted them to be. But it's nice to be able to do that. So you're saying you'll be able to color the leaves or the bulbs of the tree in all these
correct,
different colors, plus the tree itself, the trunk
correct,
and the branches could be any one of these colors, which
correct.
gives you a lot of customization.
Correct.
Seussical, is a word that's been around for a while. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't make that up. That's definitely not me. That's been around since Dr. Seuss has been writing books,
Oh
I
yeah.
think. Um, but if you want to give me credit, I'll take it. Anyway, so that was the end of my questions, but we have a whole bunch of questions coming in from the community. Atlam, can you paste over what you have so far and we'll jump into those? We'll take just a moment. Um, so I gotta say I appreciate you jumping on the stream. Sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. That was a
No
little
problem.
random, but I'm glad we sorted it out. And honestly, I appreciate all you do for our community. There's so many people who have gotten their start in 3D asset design because of your guidance and your videos and the videos, the interviews we did before and all these different things. It's been kind of a big journey, but honestly, you've been a major driving force, a catalyst, if you will, behind the asset importation and sharing assets on the workshop. I would say you and Sack are probably about half the assets on the workshop together. So, like, that's quite an accomplishment. You gentlemen have done quite a bit of work, and that's not to take away from you. I just think you have been, like I said, a very big driving force behind our community's development in that direction because it
Hmm.
goes way beyond me. And some of the stuff you've come up with and little tools and guidance you've really offered our community is exceptional and honestly phenomenal. I appreciate all the time you shared and volunteered to our community with your expertise.
Yeah, no problem. I'm very big on trying to get the community to let them know that if you don't have the time and you're afraid of trying to do 3D, that you just don't know what you're doing, Blender is free. It is easy, and I mean it's easier than to me somebody trying to teach you how to draw with a pencil. You have basic shapes. I think a lot of the people that are out there really just want to know how can I pull in a model that I like, or if I've got a mini that's not colored, how do I color it and pull it in Blender? These are real simple things that you can do. But building things in Blender is also really, really simple. And I want to encourage everyone that if you want, dip your toe in it. You can always ask questions. I'm there. I'll be free to answer them. I've been putting out little tutorials. We've had people that have been importing items and they get a white mesh basically when they pull it in DA and they can't understand why. So I made a tutorial to explain why this is happening so that it can be corrected. So things like that. If you don't have an understanding, you're not sure, or is there an easy way to do this? Ask. It's please by all means ask.
And remember, you can ask on these streams, but also because Asmodeus tends to tune in and moderate most streams, but also in our Discord where he is very heavily present. He's a
Oh yeah.
moderator there. He answers questions there. And if you spin up a thread in our question forum in our Discord and just say, hey, I'm, trying to learn 3D modeling, sculpting, I'm trying to figure out how to import it to DA, I'm sure eventually himself will, likely be looped into the conversation as he tends to kind of have his, let's just say his tendrils. Now, what does Asmodeus have? What would Asmodeus have as the devil god? What would he have there? Not tendrils per se. I guess that's more eldritch.
All right. My minions.
Your minions,
Yeah.
all throughout the Discord. So, okay, I just got a little bit of appreciation really quickly. Not a question, just a thank you to Asmodeus for all the help and guidance. That is from Sack, by the way. So,
Oh.
and then I've got some questions here. One's from Lord Rev on
Mhm.
Twitch. What's the best advice for someone who wants to start using Blender but hasn't a clue on really where to start with 3D modeling, let alone texturing and all that?
Best advice if you're just starting Blender is honestly, when you look at the program layout, it looks daunting because of all the buttons at top and everything on the left and right hand side of the screen. What I would recommend is take the initial block that they give you and all the buttons that you've got on the left, hit one, click on the block and play with it. Learn what it does. That's easier than trying to read and get reading where it gets boring. But I have learned that through experience and in teaching, because I've taught, hands-on is a lot more better in remembering versus making you sit and read, books and books and books. So just take the block, click on one of those left-hand things. You'll see knives. You'll have invert, a whole bunch of things. Click on it. Put it on the block and see what it does. If you're not sure, you can always click on the help for invert and just read it real quick, and you'll have a quicker understanding.
If I might add to that, everybody learns a little bit differently, right? Some people are
Hmm.
hands-on. Some people love guidance and tutorials. Some people can just read a guide and figure it out. There is tons of information out there for Blender. Tons. Tutorials on YouTube, wikis upon wikis out there full of, guidelines and information. And then also you can spin up a thread in our Discord and just ask a question related to
Right.
Blender, because several members of our community understand it really well and have even created tools to help make Dungeon Alchemist imports easier. Was it Night Vision that made the other one?
Yeah,
The
Night Vision
plugin?
made. Yes,
Night
Night
Vision
Vision
made a
did.
plugin or a module for Blender that essentially converts automatically assets to it puts them on the right axis. It essentially decimates them and does a whole bunch of stuff all at once and makes them optimized for DA. The Night Vision plugin is phenomenal. If we could get a link for that in chat to wherever it's, add in our Discord with more information, that'd be great. Tropism, you said hooks. I'm not sure what you mean there. Can you elaborate, my friend? Okay, next question here. Orange Space Monkey on YouTube asks, "Love it, Asmodeus. What is your favorite map you've made with DA?"
You believe it or not, my very first one, which was the maze. It's an
Is
old
it on the
one.
workshop?
Yeah. In
What's
fact, it
it
was
called?
it was originally supposed to be a Minotaur maze, but I changed it up. But it was a maze, and it's the
Is it called
old and our
Minotaur
first.
Maze?
I think maze. It might be Minotaur maze. I can't remember anymore.
Let's search that first. If it's old, it might take us a while to find. We may not even find it. What I could do is, I know how to find stuff. Hold up. We don't have many mazes in here. We'll just search maze. We'll go to,
Yeah, there it was originally.
we'll sort by most recent. Hear me out. And then we'll just jump to the end. Because you said it's rather old, right?
Yeah, first.
Probably when the workshop first came out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Seisu, for sharing that. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
Let's check the second page here. Also often maps don't always get shared the way we think. I'll be like, I accidentally set it to, private or like whatever. This whole time, this map may not have been here and you thought it was. But I believe you made a maze and it was probably
Oh, I
super
did.
epic and huge. Given your history with maps, you usually go big. How big
Yeah.
was this map?
It was 100 by 50.
Ah, whoa. That's quite large. Seeing a Dallas RT map.
Yeah,
It's
that's it.
possible you have it set to private, my friend, or friends only.
Which
But
is
I would
possible.
likely see it if it was friends only, because we're friends only. We're
Yeah.
friends too. I don't know. That's a bummer. Either way,
Hmm.
your favorite map is a maze. And mazes
Yeah.
are
Otherwise, the
tricky
next.
to do in DA unless, you have some forethought. We do have like hedges and walls you can build mazes with. And we also have the tracing tool, which allows you to import like a maze overlay and use it as a basis. So
Right.
really speeds things up.
So I'd
Sorry
have to
to
say the
interrupt you. Go ahead.
second map would probably be the manor. When we finally got levels,
Oh, I
the
remember
manor,
when you did that. Yeah.
and it was part of, I think, the damn challenge.
Is it called Manor?
The manor,
The Manor?
and it was big.
I remember this map. It made my computer cry. Yep, there it is. We'll open
Yep.
it. My computer's going to scream. Okay, while we're waiting for this, next question here. Random Ladybird on Twitch asks, "What assets do you find most difficult?" By the way, we're going to have to wrap up questions here, so no more coming in. What we have on the list, or I guess what we get in the next minute or two, is
What
all there will
assets do
be.
I find most difficult? The tiny assets, because putting them like within cabinets or something, which unfortunately, if you don't get it right, it takes extra steps to move the cabinet, move the asset back, but
Mhm.
anything tiny
Okay.
because of the bounding boxes.
So the colliders on them are
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, let's see here. I think most everything else is just appreciation posts. I don't think there's any other questions coming in. But we're gonna wait for this map to load up and we'll take a look. While we're doing that though, I just want to say thank you
Not a problem.
to you spending some time with us today on the stream. And also for all you do for our community. Um, you're an absolute gem, a mensch, if you will. And I just want to say thank you again.
No
Can we
problem.
get like a? I don't think there's any others so far. Can we get a any other questions, Atlam? Sorry for the clarification there.
While
Could
we're
we?
waiting, I was going to say in DA, if there's a button I could have them make, it would be mirror button.
I do have other questions, and they're actually from prior to the stream from our Discord. Let me jump into those really
Okay.
quickly. This one here is from Loki. He asks, I'm curious whether. Oh, wait, no, this isn't it. This isn't it. Okay, where is it? Hold up. Wrong one. Wrong question. Here it is. What feature or themes in Dungeon Alchemist does he find most useful when creating maps?
What feature or theme wise, I'm still the medieval fantasy. Um, and as far as creating, I do like the ability to lower and raise the ground. However, one of my wishes would be instead of just always having a circle, we could change it to a square or a triangle that would give us the ability to create corners or uh, straight ledges and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay. And then what future features or themes are you most especially looking forward to? You said mirrored objects. What else are you waiting for?
Waterworld. I'm curious to
Water
see what they
world,
do.
so
Oh yeah,
sea,
Waterworld.
so high seas.
High seas, Waterworld. Yeah, especially if we're able to put water at different levels, so
Oh,
you can
water
have.
worlds and high seas. Gotcha.
Yes.
Whenever I hear the term water world, I always think of that failed apocalyptic movie. Sorry, continue. Go ahead. Oh yeah, this map took this whole time to load, and my computer's crying right now. It's screaming trying to load this. I'm gonna set it to medium. I hope you're not offended. There, that's easier for it to digest.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
one
don't
when.
go chasing waterfalls, Chim says. Just stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. Okay, so next question. If the DA devs give you a chance to pick one feature, one theme, and one object to set in the ad and add to the tool overall, what would you choose? So one feature, one theme, one object.
One feature, the ability to mirror an object.
Okay. One theme.
Theme, Ravenloft.
Okay. So Ravenloft is essentially kind of like, isn't it kind of sort of artificery, kind of a little bit Frankenstein-y meets like dark horror?
Dark, right. Dark horror, right.
It's like Eberron meets uh Strahd, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I've never played in Ravenloft, but I've heard about it. Dark Gothic steam. Gotcha. Yeah, that's basically my impromptu explanation. So I think I got it pretty close. Okay, next question is from Anani. So those last three questions from Loki. The next one is from Anani, and it is I have a D&D session tomorrow, so unfortunately I can't join, but I'd love to ask this question. What is the biggest inspiration source for Asmodeus when he creates his assets?
This is going to sound funny, but my biggest inspiration source is you, all of you. The fact that you use something and I see it in your pieces, that's that's more than I can say. I find, I mean, it makes me feel good if I can create something that somebody needs. You know, uh, for me, that's the best thing. Um, how do I say this? We have an internship, and there was a kid in Dungeon Alchemist a few years ago, and Mac, you were here. I don't know if you remember him, but he was 12, and his dad bought him a PC because he wanted to learn 3D modeling. I talked with him.
Vaguely remember it.
Yeah, so basically, 4 years goes by. We told him, when you get older, write us. I'll remember you. So he spent a summer internship with us, and to see somebody grow whose eyes, I mean, and they love what they're doing, is an inspiration. So anything that I do that you guys use and everything, that is the best payment I can ever get.
So everyone, take a moment, pat yourself on the back for inspiring Asmodeus to be so awesome. In fact, Asmodeus, pat yourself on the back too while you're at it. You deserve it, my friend. There is one last moment question that came in from Facebook. The Facebook chat's being a little buggy today. Um, this is from Lizzie Plant. How much how much does a map bring your campaign to life and help you with considering motivations of NPC monsters, etc.?
Actually, a map does bring your campaign to life. There's a difference if you look at some maps that are, how do I want to say this? That are bare versus when you can add details to it, even though a lot of your players don't really care about these details, but it does bring life to the party, especially if you can have them hiding behind trees or secret door, passages.
Mm-hmm.
But with Dungeon Alchemist, the ability to create those scenes where they can actually look inside this manner and not top down, but actually inside, it gives them a whole new, brand new perspective. When you tell somebody you see a desk with papers and books on them, if you can show them that desk with what's actually on there, it totally transforms everything. It makes the storytelling better. It makes the anticipation for your players more livelier.
Agreed. I think you have a good point there. Honestly, it's funny how there is a fine line to ride though between detail and too much time spent on a map. Um, so it's a good idea to, kind of make sure you not necessarily putting dozens of hours into a map unless it's very critical to the campaign story. You may be revisiting it time and time again. And, just make sure when you do any map that you just try to add a little bit of flair to it that makes it pop. Whether it's good lighting or added objects or, a little bit of detail here and there can go a long way, especially in drawing in your players', emotions and imagination. Asmodeus, I want to say thank you again. Fantastic interview today on the stream. It was so much fun having you on. Can we
Thank you.
get a quick round of applause for Asmodeus? Some thank yous and just a kind exit for him because we're going to be transitioning into our next segment. But I want to make sure he is just known that it's known that his time here was well spent. So could we get our clapping, thank you, high fives, thumbs up,
Thank
whatever you
you.
feel like is most inclined in chats. And again, Asmodeus, I so much appreciate your friendship,
No
your
problem.
your guidance, your your help behind the scenes, if you know what I mean, and
Hmm.
also everything you do for our community. Um, Eternally grateful to you. I sadly have to wrap up this segment because we went quite long today, but I felt like it was worth it to make sure all the community questions were answered and, allow you to discuss, what you wanted to share with us today. Remember, everyone, if you want to chat with Dallas RT or Asmodeus offline or outside the stream, you'll see him around our Discord quite often. But you can always spin up a thread if you have questions related to 3D modeling, and I'm
Please.
sure he'll be there in no time. It's like a bat signal for him. He'll see it and dive in almost immediately. Seeing lots of thank yous coming in. Appreciate you all so very, very much for tuning into this segment. Whew, it's been fantastic, Asmodeus, but unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. I appreciate you so very, very much. You have a wonderful day. I'm going to hopefully figure out how to disconnect this. I don't know how. Oh, I know how. I can do it. See you later. Oh, he did it. Thank you so much, Asmodeus. Appreciate you, my man. Okay, I'm going to hide that segment. And we're going to flip. Oh, this whole time I had damn news on. I stink. I should have had the user segment up. Sorry about that, everyone. We'll go into the question segment momentarily, which is a follow-up to that segment. Questions more directed about Dungeon Alchemist, our development, our future, support inquiries, troubles with map designs, exports, whatever. If you're having issues, that's what I'm here for. Quick reminder, though, we are currently 20% off on Steam. So if you're kind of eyeballing Dungeon Alchemist, you're checking it out, great time to get it because it's the best possible deal you can get on it. That gets you a lifetime license, which includes all past updates and future updates, including 4 major updates or patches, if you will, that will expand our object palettes, our abilities, and functionality throughout Dungeon Alchemist with things like water at different levels, the ability to rotate objects on all axes, the ability to build things like ships, etc. That was a fun interview, I think. It was quite a bit of fun. I need to fix my cameras really quick. I moved them just for the interview. We could figure that out. So that's a good question, Lizzie. That is a very good question. So Lizzie Plant over on Facebook asks, and this will be our first question segment, our question for the segment today. So remember, everyone, if you have questions related to Dungeon Alchemist, drop them in chat, in any chat, whatever stream you're on. We're streaming right now to Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Steam. So the multi-stream is live across all platforms. If you have any inquiries, suggestions, feedback, support, whatever, let me know in chat and I will address it for the next few minutes. It was a great interview. It was an amazing interview. So Lizzie Plant asks, what are the best ways to put traps into maps? I use Roll20, but I want to put a few traps into floors, doors, etc. So Roll20 is a great platform, but it has some limitations. First off, they have kind of a limited file size budget. And what that means is your maps have to be under a certain size, right? Your JPEG images or videos have to be under a certain file size. Typically, Dungeon Alchemist video exports are far too large for what Roll20 currently supports. And we've reached out to them, asked them if they could consider increasing their size. And they have, and that's a good step in the right direction. But I think they still need more to kind of compete with most other virtual tabletops. That being said, if you have a video map, it's animated, can have a lot more things going on, but that isn't necessarily always really required to do things like traps. Because you as a DM are a storyteller, right? But you're also a producer and a map maker, right? So you could make a map and you can know there are traps in certain areas, right? It could be a pitfall or a spike trap or a dart trap or any number of things. It could just be an alarm, and you know they're in there those areas, right? Maybe at these staircases there's little alarm tripwires. At the top there are glyphs that prevent you from entering unless you say a certain keyword. These things you make note of as a DM, they're storytelling mechanics. Unless you want a physical representation of the trap in the map, you don't really have to show off where it is. That's the point of traps. They're supposed to be secretive, right? You don't want to give it away where it is or how to discover it. Now, if you want to show what the trap looks like after it's been triggered, you'd likely need two versions of the map. One that has the normal map and one that shows the triggered trap, right? So let's say you had a hole here with the pitfall in it, right? Alternatively, we could just do like a pit. Oop, I'm on the wrong. 1 second. Just gonna do a pit. Something like that there, right? We can delete those little walls. And then put some spikes in the bottom. And this would be your second version of the map. Oops. Well, anyway, you get the idea of what I'm going for. So if you want to have a visual representation of the map, of the trap on the map, you'll likely have to have two maps, i.e., two scenes, one with traps, one without, one that reveals it after they've been to that trap. And given the size of the map and how many traps might be on it, you might need multiple versions of the map. So, what I remind you as a DM is you have storytelling and theater of mind at your disposal. You can, in fact, not show them the trap at all and just explain to them that they didn't do an investigation check or their passive perception or they didn't use detect magic to notice there was a trap here and now they've been tricked. Like, that's how the game works. It's really designed to, traps especially are supposed to, make players paranoid and look for them constantly, and if they're not, they get trapped. The other option, though, when you're playing in like a virtual tabletop, you can make a tile of a trap, i.e., an image of it. So this map is a bad example, but the green screen backdrop, for instance, you could put something on it that looks like a trap, save that as an image, put that in Photoshop, delete all the green, and then you have like, a spike trap that you could put on things. Alternatively, when it comes to traps, there are assets on the workshop that are traps that you can put into maps. So you can visualize traps in lots of different ways, right? But at the same time, you don't always have to. Traps are supposed to be kind of secretive, and it's meant for players to discover them if they're meant to. Oh man, Pikey, that video is definitely old, but it's still gold, right? If you have any questions related to Dungeon Alchemist during the stream today, let me know. I'll be glad to cover them. Because, Dungeon Alchemist has evolved so much since then. We got a whole bunch of new tutorials on the horizon. In fact, a built-in tutorial system within DA and videos on our YouTube will be coming out soon. Alan, can you do me a favor? If any questions come in over the chat, if I miss them, can you send them to me in Discord? Space Monkey on YouTube asks, I've been using the black smoke magical feature, but is there any movement into a fog of war function? That's a good question. Honestly, we probably won't be diving into fog of war until after we leave early access. Fog of War is like a VTT function. Excuse me. And so, Foundry, Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, Above, they all offer that feature. It was a stock feature. I know many of you want to run your games in Dungeon Alchemist. I think the plan is we'll deliver on all our stretch goals, then we'll roll into focusing on above and beyond that, which would be, VTT light features for Dungeon Alchemist. What that is remains to be seen. I've heard from the devs that it would likely be a standalone tool that is, like the peanut butter to the chocolate of Dungeon Alchemist that melds really well with it, and your maps export and import perfectly into this tool, and then you have Fog of War and all that stuff, dice rolling, etc. So, as it stands right now, there really is not much new information about it. I think until we leave early access, there probably won't be much. Does that make sense? For now, it's going to be focus on delivering what we've already promised and then jump into that new project when the time's right. Okay, so it looks like people are sharing information there. That's good. I've got a question from our Discord while we're waiting. Find it. This question comes from Loki. I'm curious whether the simplified shipbuilder is still planned for part 2 of Fun with Objects. If so, do you know roughly how it's supposed to work? So, Loki, as far as I know, it's still planned for part 2, but that's subject to change. And as far as I know, it'll be a modular kind of snap together system, similar to like Lego or like Minecraft, how everything is really just modular and snaps together intuitively. There'll be parts that, will act as end pieces, parts that act as central pieces, and everything in between. And they'll probably design even more to give you more options. I'm hoping with time that'll evolve into not just water ships, but airships and astral ships. Blah, blah, blah. Is there? Don't let them know. It's the lantern. Oh, it's a lantern, nothing dramatic. Fine. And I've got hiccups today. Don't know why. Had a cup of coffee before the stream. I blame it on that. Another question from Loki while we're at it. What are the odds that Dungeon Alchemist could eventually be run on GeForce Now? That's a good question. I have adamantly pushed for GeForce Now support on the back end. From my understanding, it's quite literally us just flicking a switch. It's one of the only instances in development where it's a switch. You just flick and it's activated. Honestly, that's like a joke in development that like we're withholding this tool or this feature because we're not flipping a switch and making it work. But that's not the case in development more often than not, right? But apparently within Steam, as a tool for developers, there is a feature, cloud support, that you can activate with GeForce Now, and it essentially makes your app compatible with GeForce Now automatically because it's already compatible with Steam. It meets all the requirements. So I wish that we offered this. GeForce Now, for those that aren't aware, is a cloud-based service for gaming. It allows you to game resource-intensive games on things like tablets or maybe a computer that's not that strong, as long as you have a good internet connection. Microsoft has been doing this same thing similarly with like Xbox games where you can just play them through your browser or through your phone, and it uses your Xbox as like a network device to play it, or a server. And then you can play many games just through your browser with a controller without even having your Xbox on. They're just, cloud-based games. So a lot of companies are starting to lean into this. I want Dungeon Alchemist to offer this because it's starting to get more resource intensive. With multi-level, we jumped into a whole new category, right? And I do think we should update our requirements on Steam, because now Dungeon Alchemist requires so much more to run effectively if you want to run a multi-level map, right? Or build a multi-level map. So I think in the the interest of transparency and honesty, we should update it. But also offering tools like GeForce Now to supplement our community members who may have a computer that's not that strong and can invest in a more powerful one, especially when like RAM is like jutting up in price and graphics cards are jutting up in price, and it's becoming ever so hard to upgrade a machine that can keep up with the, modern day applications. I think cloud-based services like GeForce Now are really important. I'm sorry to keep rambling on here, but I'll bring it up again with them. I can't do much more than that. I really want them to do this. I've every time someone asks, I bring it up, pretty much. In our last like meeting before Fun with Objects was developed, there was a big team meeting and they asked us to like put together a wish list of features we'd like to see. And I put together like 5-10 features, and most of them were community based. And that was one of them, was GeForce Now. So I'm hoping with time they decide to invest the time into doing it. Hopefully it is just as simple as I think, but if it's not, that's probably the case why they haven't done it yet. And hopefully we dive into it in the future. I'm all for it. Let's just say that. Tropism asks, oh, before that, Rev, hey, see you later, my friend. Rev's bouncing, so I wanted to say goodbye. Tropism on YouTube asks, are we able to search assets and maps via the map maker's names? That's a good question. And currently you cannot. Not within the Steam Workshop interface on DA. Unless the map maker is clever. If the map designer is clever, they put their name in the description. But many do not. The description is the only searchable terms, the name of the map and the description. So essentially, anything that is in the name and anything that is in the description can be searched. But as far as I know, you cannot search by maps by username. On the Steam interface, though, let's dive into that really quickly. Let's see. So, let's see here. Steam, I'm sure you're familiar with this like layout. You can click Workshop when you've highlighted DA, right? And you can sort by, map or asset. Oops, I'm going to click map here. Notice you see names, right, of creators, Tropism. So at this point, you could, in fact, click on their name and then search by their creations only. You can sort by maps only, expand it to 30 maps, view, and then basically see the creator's creations on a single screen or several screens, by browsing through them. The Steam interface is definitely more conducive to this. The problem is you have to find them first. So I usually will sort by map or asset, if I'm looking for a certain person. Very easy to find an asset by SAC or whoever if I sort by recent, typically, or popular. Yeah, honestly, me personally, I think it should automatically put our name in all the descriptions, like at the bottom as a tag. But yeah, every one of us can put our own name in our maps and assets we upload to the workshop, making them a searchable term. If you have a description at the bottom, put a few tags, it's a smart idea. Like searchable terms with a comma in between them. Yeah, I hardly use Steam either, my friend. I get it. Alrighty. So I think that covered the question segment. Oh, looks like Lizzie had a question. Do we have birch trees? I think they're only available on the workshop at the moment. If there are any, they're likely on the workshop. I think there's been a few uploaded. There's a couple birch trees on here. Birch trees are very distinct, though. I understand why you would want them. That being said, in a fantasy setting, birch trees may not exist. But definitely search the workshop if you're looking for unique items that aren't directly already in DA. Be careful though. This second birch tree, the first one's great. Second one is 178 megabytes. That's huge. First one, 5 megabytes, 6 megabytes. Not bad. You can share your maps wherever, Pikey. In fact, Article 4.1 of our terms and services for Dungeon Alchemist kind of outlines this. But essentially, Dungeon Alchemist maps, if you make them yourself, and it's not like you've taken a map from the workshop and then repurposed it as your own, i.e., as long as you're making it all yourself within Dungeon Alchemist, you can even resell your maps. So you can share them on social media, you can share them on websites for resale, and we don't have a problem with it. Yeah, tree colliders are hit or miss for sure. Can you share that Article 4.1 link with them on YouTube, Atlam? So they can check that out. Music's a little too high now. I just turned it back on. Yeah, it's probably really loud. Yep, everyone, I get it. The music's loud. I'll fix it. So Article 4.1 of our TOS kind of outlines it, but basically we have no problem with the everyday creator, map maker, DM making maps, selling maps, sharing maps. Keep in mind, it has to be your own creation. So if you make the map top to bottom within Dungeon Alchemist, that's fine. But if you're downloading a map from the workshop or downloading hundreds of assets and using them in your own designs and reselling them, probably not smooth. There's always copyright, trademark and other things to consider, or licensing and accreditation for people who may be doing Creative Commons or selling licenses, companies like Disney, etc. So be careful when you use assets from the workshop in your maps that you plan to resell or share. But yeah, anyway, going on with that, essentially, you can make maps, share maps, sell maps, and if you don't surpass 100,000 in annual gross income, we don't have a problem with it. You can keep doing whatever you want. But once you do get to that point, like if you're selling maps or making modules, campaign books, whatever, for Kickstarter programs or whatever, then you likely need a commercial license, which, just a little bit higher tier, guarantees you're protected with licensing agreements for us for all our stock assets. Not smooth at all? I'm confused. Arteris, how you doing? Welcome back. They say your first 100K map making is the hardest. I imagine it's very difficult. There's only a handful of like map makers on the market that make that much a year. That's why we put it so high. We wanted to give our community like as much breathing room as possible because we understand most of you, if not all of you, are artists, creators, making maps for your own campaigns, and if you are making them for resale or whatever, we don't want you to be burdened with having to try and get a special license unless you're like able to afford it. You know what I mean? So we don't really like get on your case about that stuff. I'm good, Arteris. Oh yeah, definitely don't sell other people's work. That is definitely not cash money, as Godzilla would say. Where are you making your characters at, Arteris? So it looks like we've covered most of the... Oh, you're using D&D Beyond to make characters. Got you. You're doing character sheet creation. Theory crafting, right? I like to make fun builds and see how they turn out. I'll like make a challenge for myself. I want this character to be like Batman. See if I can make it. Okay, let us move on to the next segment. We're moving on from questions to the workshop. So maps on the shop all vary in size. Some are 100 by 100, some are 20 by 20. Most, if not all of them, are not designed around paper sizes. Kiki Visual, I will be honest with you straight up. Most of the maps on the workshop are designed for like TV tabletops or virtual tabletops where there's no limitation or very few limitations in size. When you're designing a map for print, almost always it's best to start as a print size, i.e. A3. We have a print yourself setup where you can set it for A3, you can take it to a print shop, you can generate any of the biomes. If you take a map off the workshop, you're likely going to have to do what's called rasterization, which isn't a native feature in Dungeon Alchemist. You essentially take the map and you export it as an image, and then you break that image into many smaller images. There are tools online that offer this for free, websites that offer it, as well as, you know, like editing tools like Adobe Acrobat allows you to do like poster creation where they can take a large image and break it into smaller images. Essentially, it stitches a bunch of images together that make a massive large image, like a patchwork quilt, right? So you have a bunch of, like, it takes this whole map, splits it into a bunch of A3 sized images. Unfortunately, that's not a native feature in Dungeon Alchemist, so you just have to take the map, export it as a JPEG, find a tool online or a photo video editor or whatever that can split it up. It is a bummer. That's kind of the limitation, basically, is 14 by 9 on grid for A3. Very limited in size if you plan to print it yourself, but I understand kind of what you're going for. Essentially, you're trying to take a map from the workshop, what it sounds like, and then make it more bite size for printing. So multiple tiles. You're building a character based on Dorian Gray? Nice. Honestly, Dorian Gray is kind of underrated nowadays. Like most of the old like horror and fantasy books, you know, like everyone leans into the modern stuff, but the picture of Dorian Gray is one of my favorite oldies. Hoping I sing the segment now. Okay, so for our segment today with the damn workshop, I wanted to talk about markets and shops. I think they're a very important part of any D&D campaign or tabletop campaign. Have I watched Blake's 7 yet? No. What's that? This looks like... Where would I even watch this? What streaming service would I find this? It's funny you say that because my name is actually Blake. That's my IRL name. I know you all know me as Mac. This is earth-shattering news, I'm sure. But when you said that, I was a little bit like, wait, what? Take him back. I see you, Orange Space Monkey. Gotcha. Right? It's weird. I don't look like a Blake, do I? After all this time calling me Mac, how could you even? You knew it was? I mean, it's shared on our website, that my name, so it's not hard to know. I kind of figured your name isn't tropism. In fact, most of you aren't your usernames, but in the modern age of digital, avatars and usernames, a lot of us go by our online monikers more often than not. A lot of people call me Mac and know me as Mac and prefer to call me Mac. Because they know what kind of danger they're in if they don't. I'm just kidding. Let's take a look at this little... Yep, we just had an interview with the Prince of Devils, Asmodeus, obviously. It's really him. Hey, how come this door ain't showing? Man, I remember like early like Xbox and online, it was just your handle and that was it. But yeah, now there's kind of like real life on the internet as well. So, but also when it comes to our community, I'm not going to force anyone to share their real name. You know what I mean? I would never do that because I understand online, especially in, in a gaming community, some people just want to remain that name, that anonymous name. Blake and Steve sounds like a couple of suburban house dads with no time, with nothing but time on their hands. But yeah, I definitely prefer to go by Mac. As it's, you know, it's my persona, if you will. Man, this place looks yummy. I would eat here. Dang. Is that their kitchen? I'm just like in their kitchen. Because it kind of looks like a place to buy stuff. Ah, it links to this. This is where you eat. Yes, it is a character on Workaholics. Blake is a surprisingly rare name. I've only met a handful of people with the name. And it's like an angelicized name that means to bleach or whiten. So, do with that whatever you will. I really like the trellis up here. So I think like a fish market, fun idea in a campaign. Having a little place where, you know, there's a handful of shops, the banana stand, there's always money in the banana stand, you know what I mean? But I mean, compared to some names that there's like 5 to 10 of each name in students, Blake seems to be one of the more rare names. Growing up, I only knew one other Blake in all of my years of school. And then when I went to the work, like when I started working into the workforce, one of my first jobs, there was 3 Blakes there, myself and 2 others. It was so confusing. But I had been there longer than all of them, so most people called me by Blake, and then they called them by their last initial. Blake H or Blake whatever, you know what I mean? If you look up here, you see this little support system with all the like grapes on it. Like a trellis of grapes. I don't know if that's the right term. Oh, excuse me. So it was my wife's birthday the other day, right? And then my wife wanted to have one of her friends over to have dinner to celebrate the birthday, but her friend was busy on her birthday, couldn't make it, some prior, you know, work stuff. So we decided to have a special dinner tonight, have her come over, hang out. We're gonna have ribs. And corn on the cob. And Brazilian cheese balls and some mashed potatoes. You know, I've met a few Charlene's in my life. And I knew a Darlene, too. She was actually a twin. But Charlene seems like a name that you would hear in like movies and TV shows. Or like a song. It is definitely, I've definitely heard the name a lot. So I handpicked a bunch of shops from the workshop. This one's a potion shop. The Spores, Cave, Herbs, and Potions. Well, thank you, Pikey, for the kind words, and that's an interesting question. So I wasn't actually around back then. Yeah, I've been with the team 3 going on 4 years, but our lead developer and our lead artist, so the story goes, they worked together on another project, another development team. And while they liked working there, they wanted to develop their own project. And in getting to hang out and getting to know each other, they decided that they might want to start, their own development company and make something unique. They both love Pathfinder and wanted to make a map making tool that was streamlined and easy to use. So they paired up and put their knowledge together. We have Carl Krombeck, who is our lead developer. He is incredibly smart and comes up with so many cool solutions to our development. Like this roofing system here was a custom algorithm that he designed himself that essentially is the first time it's ever been used for roofing. It's really hard to understand because I'm really dumb when it comes to this stuff. Remember, I'm only the community manager. But Carl, I think he has some kind of pact with some sort of technological deity. So he's like a techno warlock. And that's how he's able to do the things he does. No, he's just really smart. He knows what he's doing. And then Wim, our lead art director, is actually the creator of Dungeon Alchemist. Wim DeHare, he conceptualized Dungeon Alchemist and pitched the idea to Carl, and Carl's like, yeah, I can make that. And then they partnered up, and that's where Briganti Interactive came from and Dungeon Alchemist as you know it. So Dungeon Alchemist, they conceived it as a Kickstarter, which blew up. It was the most popular Kickstarter of all time when it launched at the time of its launch, which was right around the beginning of the pandemic, which you could see how that would really help kind of catalyze that, because a lot of people were at home doing nothing, sitting in front of their computers, wanting to play D&D and doing other things like that, running D&D campaigns, learning about D&D, learning about Pathfinder. So there was a lot of interest in our product. We had one of the most successful Kickstarter campaigns of all time, which has allowed us to continually develop Dungeon Alchemist as it is. There's no monthly subscription, there's no season passes. It's just a one-time fee for a lifetime license, and that gets you access to all of our past updates and all of our future updates until we leave early access and beyond. So, anyway, moving on from that, our team is very community oriented. We listen to our community feedback and suggestions. It's a big driving force for our development. So while we started as a Kickstarter and had plans and, all these stretch goals or patch goals, if you will, for future development, we also listen to our community and implement their suggestions and feedback. Things like multi-level and roofing were never planned for our initial, development or rollout, and now it's a big part of Dungeon Alchemist. I definitely appreciate the one-off fee with Dungeon Alchemist as a lifetime license, because so many services nowadays want your monthly money, or an annual fee, or a season pass fee, or an add-on fee. You know what I mean? Fees for just having a fee, fees for breathing, fees for living. It's like they just want, they're irritated that you're a step between you and your wallet. That's how most companies seem nowadays. Dungeon Alchemist is the opposite. One-time fee for a lifetime license. You don't even need Steam to run Dungeon Alchemist, though it's a big benefit because of the Steam Workshop. At the end of the day, though, it is a great tool. Okay, so let's move on really quickly to our next segment. Actually, you know what? No, we're not going to move on. We're going to show a couple more maps in the workshop. I kind of got a little distracted there because we were talking about fees. And I got a little heated thinking about it. I definitely don't like the direction most companies are taking nowadays, where they put as many like barriers between you and a person or customer service or assistance, and they just really want your money and nothing else. They want to provide a bare bones product or service, and that's it. I really respect my work, and I love my work because we are prideful of our community and take their feedback and their suggestions serious, and we love our community. Like, we would be nowhere without you. We wouldn't have gotten this far without our Kickstarter support and our community support throughout all these years. We know where we came from. You know what I mean? We're not like, I don't know. I don't want to compare us to other companies, but at the same time, I like doing it because we are great. Don't mean to toot our own horn here, but I definitely appreciate working for bosses with morals. As someone with odd HD, I just, I have a, like, I don't know, like a high sense of moral code, and it drives me crazy sometimes in the modern age how, like, essentially the contract is just, the moral contract has been broken by so many companies and whatever is out there, you know? This shop is so quaint. I would love to bring my players here, and they probably spend all their gold. When the devs asked me if I'd create a LinkedIn account, I said, you know what, I'd rather not, if that's okay. And they're like, no, that's fine, you don't have to. I was like, cool. Hey, Kaira, how you been? Welcome back. Hope you're well. I love this little underground workshop. And then it leads to the mushroom cave. I love this little garden of mushrooms, but goodness, look at the air. Could you imagine what this smells like? It probably smells like a dirty sock in there. Oh, wow, you just bought a copy? First off, welcome to the damn fam. I need like a sound effect when someone buys a copy on stream. You know, like some confetti comes up on stream and some sounds, some trumpets. We need some grandstanding, damn it. Anyway, welcome to the Dam Fam, as we say. When you save a map in Dungeon Alchemist, it's saved as a .dam file, which is our proprietary file format. It stands for Dungeon Alchemist Map. We like to lean into it a little bit. So we'll say Dam on stream. We say Dam Fam, Dam Challenge, Dam Stream, Dam Show. I don't really like doing like notifications on stream. Hear me out. So on my personal stream years ago, I used to do notifications for everything. You'd follow, there's a notification. You'd subscribe, there's a notification. You'd donate, there's a notification, right? But people out there are horrible and take advantage of this and ruin it for others. Some people would change their name to say awful things on stream, and then they donate so that name would pop up on stream. Or other people would, follow and unfollow, follow and unfollow, follow and unfollow, just so their name could be seen on screen over and over again. There are people who ruin it for others. You know what I mean? Like, I used to love that, being able to shout out our community when it happens, as it happens. But unfortunately, I don't like doing that anymore. And for a business-oriented stream, i.e. it's our own business channel, it's the Dungeon Alchemist official channel, I feel like it's probably wise to avoid that. Some people have names that are dicey. Okay, one time when I was a partnered streamer on Facebook, I had to defend myself through several evaluations to prevent myself from being banned because someone had a name that when you said it out loud sounded like a derogatory slur, but their name as written wasn't. And it doesn't sound like it normally, it just sounds weird. But I had to provide clips and like testimonies of viewers and stuff because people will go out of their way to ruin the fun for others. There's just a handful out there that just enjoy ruining it for everyone. Anyway, so that's why I tend to read names several times before I read them out loud. I don't show them on the stream. I don't do anything like that notification-wise. Oh, I'm over it. I'm just explaining why I don't, From a business standpoint, it's not a good idea. Something could come up on the stream and you have no control over it. Anyway, moving on. I do that to protect you all and protect this brand because I love it. Let's open up another map, shall we? And then we'll move on to our next segment. Oh, I wanted to look at Anani's Grand Market. This thing is crazy. I'd just rather no hateful terms come up on the stream or, derogatory, racist, defamatory, misogynist, nothing like that has a place on our stream. I won't allow it, ever. If I had any say in the Dungeon Alchemist community, I'll keep that stuff as far away from it. So Anani joined our community about 5-6 months ago, and since then they have exploded as a top-tier map maker in our community. And one thing they've really excelled at is roof shaping. They have taken it upon themselves to learn their roofing system inside and out, and have begun to make these intricate, beautiful, detailed roof shapes that far exceed the normal roofing. Yeah, I would say Anani's biggest skill right now is roof shaping. Like when it comes to his biggest talent, he makes some of the most crazy roofings. He made a roof that looked like a beholder once. Like, I'm not even joking you, this guy is super talented, but it just is inspiring to see. And this is just the roof. We haven't even looked inside yet. Pike, you have no idea. Let's go ahead and drop a token and walk through it really quick. I love highlighting community maps like this because I know so many of you put so much time and effort into them. And I think at the end of the day, getting your work seen, your art seen by others is one of the most rewarding and like fun experiences you can have. Definitely found a bug there. Look at those breaks in the tile, because above it's not broken like that. I'll have to show that to the devs. You really only notice it in first person though, so that's minimal. What is this? So this is like a indoor swap meet, like an indoor market. Have any of you ever been to like a swap meet? It's like a whole bunch of vendors inside. One might say the roofs are on fire. Yes, his roofs are fire. The little intricate detailing of the flooring, mix and match wood and tiling, marbling. So, a swap meet is essentially either an outdoor or an indoor market where vendors can rent spaces, tents, but it could be like a boot lorry market where like people sell stuff out of their trunk, or they put up like a tent or like whatever. So imagine you went to like a you know, maybe a festival or like a carnival or something, but the whole like every single tent is a different vendor with something else, and you have no idea what the next one will be. And there's really no rides or events. It's just all people selling stuff. Flea market, boot market. Yeah, I've heard them called flea markets before. They call them swap meets as well in the US. There is a massive indoor swap meet here in Vegas. It's actually pretty cool. We've been a few times in the past. We don't go anymore just to not risk getting the missus sick anymore. But prior to her, you know, getting, you know, becoming immunocompromised, we went to the indoor swap meet all the time. They have coupons on their website. You print them out, and it's like $2 per person to go in. You pay a door fee, and then there's hundreds of vendors inside, all in like their own little tents or like booths. And man, they'll jewelry, like old stuff, like collectibles, garage sale stuff, art, rugs, pets. There was a pet store inside once. It definitely is. It is a vibe for sure. I don't know what it's like going to the world's largest garage sale. You know what I mean? It's just a bunch of random vendors selling stuff. One time I went and there was like a guy selling sunglasses, right? And this was when I used to stream as a partnered streamer on Mixer years ago. And I bought like a bunch of sunglasses from this dude, and I like haggled with him for like 10 minutes. Got a killer deal, I think. He probably was happy with what he sold me. But anyway, I bought like a bunch of pairs of sunglasses, and I'd wear them as different personas. So like one of them, this was like years and years ago, one of my personas was called Felon Musk. And I had like some like bro dude investor sunglasses that made me look like Elon Musk. And then like I had a bunch of really weird personas on stream that I'd do randomly. You know, you're getting the wrong vibe about this place, Sack. Or swap meets in general. Definitely not what you're thinking. It's not a keys and bowls situation. There's no pineapples to be found. It is just simply a place where people go and meet each other and swap goods. But there is literally a massive one in Vegas. You can look it up. It's called, shoot, I can't remember, but it's like an indoor swap meet. They also have an outdoor one near the Speedway. Sometimes there's one there. But anyway, they're pretty fun. If you've never been, it's pretty fun. A flea market, same thing. Hey, Sack brought it up, okay? Not me. This map was made by Anani, and it's like a massive indoor market. It's fantastically beautiful. How you doing, Eric? Miss you, my friend. Soon, TM. We'll be playing again soon. Can't wait for the next session. I hope you have a happy holiday. Yeah, I won't be explaining it, Zach, at all. I won't dive into it. I said too much already. I bet, dude. Don't overdo it. Enjoy your holiday. Oh, man. Enjoy yourself. Hey, before you get that holiday break, I sent you another message related to my last question. I'm hoping we could find a middle ground. Oh, I love this updoor area, like this upstairs market area. Anani killed it. So markets are, I think, really important in any campaign, right? To have some place for your players to go to spend money. We don't often get to go to markets in our campaign with Eric because we only play once a month. So we decided to do a lot of our shopping as downtime to not waste game time, right? Because a lot of us don't want to waste that time, you know, doing RP shopping when we could be killing goblins or something, right? These paintings are actually all made by Anani. Anani usually makes their own paintings when they put them in. I'm almost 100% positive these are all their own artworks. But you can put your own paintings on canvases or images on canvases in DA. Highland Last, that sounds really cool. I want that treat. I don't like that rock. All right. I think we can move on from... Here, let me show you really quick here. Pike. So you can place like a... Here, I'll get outside somewhere. This market is insanely massive, though. Oops. So many of our painting objects can be customized, right? So you could like hang a painting on the wall. It looks like they imported these custom canvases, which is really cool way of doing it. But you could take like one of these paintings that would normally hang on a wall, right? And then you could insert custom images into them. You could insert an image of your players, something relevant to your campaign. You could put up a decree or a wanted sign. There's many different objects that are customizable in Dungeon Alchemist in this way. There's even notice boards, you know, things like that that you can customize. But it looks like those paintings, they actually put their own images on like a canvas and imported them through the asset importer, which is another amazing tool that allows you to import 3D models or share them on the workshop for others to use. So this Steam Workshop tab, if you're new to DA, this is like Dungeon Alchemist to the max. You can download maps or you can download 3D models, but don't let it get to your head. Assets on the Steam Workshop, not all of them are optimized well. Some of them are amazing, like this one, Toadstool, decorative toadstool, 0.78 megabytes, absolutely amazing. Burnt wagon, 5.7 megabytes, absolutely amazing. Okay, over here we come to some animated water. That's getting on the high side of what I would download, 35 megabytes. There are often assets on the workshop that get big. There was one earlier that was like 300 megabytes we found. So essentially, you want to be careful when you're downloading them to make sure that they're not overly sized and poorly optimized, because that'll make your map run poorly, and your in Dungeon Alchemist as a whole will take longer to load and its performance will suffer. Typically, it's best to just download assets as you need them and then unsubscribe from them after. Blue Mage, you are super creative. What are you talking about? Don't even be like that. I think Blue Mage just says that, so I compliment them. So here's one. This is a Torah, interestingly seasonal asset, or whatever. It's an interesting, concept or religious concept, but 92 megabytes. That's kind of large. The average Dungeon Alchemist map's like 5 to 10 megabytes. So be careful when you're downloading assets from the workshop, as some of them just aren't as well optimized as others. Alrighty. Let's see here. Let's move on to our next segment, which is the features segment. And just a quick reminder, we will be discussing today during this segment effects and bug reporting, which are the two kind of features I wanted to dive into today. So as many of you know, Dungeon Alchemist is just packed full of features, but one of my favorite features is effects. It allows you to paint animated effects onto your maps that bring them to life like never before. So maybe you wanted some fog, right? Or steam. Add a level of mystery to your maps, right? You can do this very easily. No worries. Hey, just message me when you can, Eric. We'll worry about it later, bud. Take your time. I know you got life and your sessions. Our offline downtime stuff is hardly important. Thank you so much. We'll talk more later. You the man. You the manatee. All right, so Eric is my GM. I met him through Twitch, actually. He uses Dungeon Alchemist maps in his campaigns, and I was really impressed by that. So I hired him for a one-shot for my family and friends. It went really well, and we continued running it into a campaign that's now been running over a year. So our next session is just after the new year. I think it's on like the 4th? The 4th? Yeah, it's on the 4th. All right. We're going to discuss the effects feature a little bit more in depth. So, yeah, Pike, when you download a map from the workshop that's subscribing to it, it's labeled as such when you browse the Steam Workshop. That's how Steam labels you have downloaded it, is subscribing to it. So when you subscribe, it automatically downloads the map and opens it from the workshop. So if you find a map on the workshop you want to open up, take a look at, you can click on it, click subscribe and download, good to go. Same with 3D models. So under the Steam Workshop tab, you can click Browse Assets. Let's say you wanted to add this toadstool to your map. You open the toadstool, you can look at the description, look at the size, see how many people have downloaded it, and then click subscribe and download, which automatically adds it to your collection, at which point you can place it. Let's just put a little tiny toadstool by the front door. Someone's living right there. Uh-oh. Weird, the TikTok stream crashed. I didn't end it. Odd. Maybe we can't go over 2 hours. I don't know. We're not wrapping up quite yet. We've got a few more minutes, and then we'll be taking off. But Lizzie, you have a happy holidays. I hope you have an amazing one, and thank you for all the love. Best to you and yours. So with effects, you can paint on, things like smoke, fire, okay? So maybe you want to add a little bit of flames outside to a place to spice up the joint. i.e. it's on fire or catching on fire, currently in flames. Alternatively, little things like magical effects or things that make the environment just seem more real, like fireflies, will-o-wisps in the background, making the environment feel more magical and real. Now, these effects, by the way, these are visible upon export, whether you export as a still or animated map. The still image is just a still image of the effect. The animated image or video would be the effect rotating and looping, or at least, you know, playing on some sort of kind of loop there. Keep in mind, you can take advantage of this if you use a virtual tabletop, or such as Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, or if you play through a TV tabletop. Or a projector tabletop at your home. What is everyone here's favorite effects? Is there any go-to effects you use often in your maps? Let's hear about them. I really enjoy will-o-wisps. Sometimes yellow fog is great, depending on the environment. Like if you're like a toxic environment, the necrotic or the yellow fog are really fun. If you look really closely at the necrotic fog, it has like floating skulls in the fog. By the way, I hope you all have a happy holiday. Just an amazing end to your year. You like wispy white fog the most? Yeah, wispy white fog and steam tend to be my go-tos. Let's add some blue smoke. Yeah, it looks like TikTok crashed. I noticed that when it happened. Nothing I can do to fix it at this point. I don't know if the stream ended prematurely or just crashed or whatever. It looks like that's the case. We'll just have to deal with it. Sorry, TikTok. But thank you for again bringing it to my attention. I tried refreshing to see if it would go back up, but it didn't do anything, so it is what it is. Oh, no, you're not interrupting anything, Atlam. You are being informative and helpful as always. Can we get like a quick bit of recognition and props to our moderator team? Atlam, Asmodeus, Dag, Remy, you know, they always are so helpful, whether it's on stream or off. Absolutely astounding, you know, damn astounding rock stars in our community. I'll get you one of these days, Sack. I'm just kidding. But keep in mind, our moderators, they are 100% volunteer. So they share their time with our community, moderate our community, provide support and feedback. 100% volunteers, and honestly, I have mad respect for them, and I wouldn't be able to run this community without their support. Like, streams would be a joke without our mods. Because honestly, could you handle watching me without having Atlam like providing links and actual reasonable information in chat from time to time? Seisu, man, I miss you the most so much. I wish you were around more. I'm so glad you've been around lately, though. I know you're like on holiday break or whatever. Seisu, before you came onto the scene, Atlam, Seisu was on our streams as like our primary stream mod for a couple of years. And then he started going back to university. which I'll never forgive him for. No, I'm just kidding. I wish you nothing but the best, honestly. I want you to have the most amazing and fun future, and like that's like what you're doing for yourself by going to school, man. Like I have no problem or issue with you enriching yourself as a person. Like, I miss you. That's about it. You know what I mean? I miss your attitude around these parts. Seisu would always give me a bit of pushback in creative and funny ways. I definitely love our moderators so much, though. Great group of people. Mad amount of respect for them. That is so cool looking. This is seriously such a beautiful map. I think Anani knocked this out of the park. All right, we're going to move on to discussing one more feature, and then we're going to wrap up the stream, okay? So we discussed effects at length. You can find them under the effects panel. There's numerous effects, and we add more with each update. You can use the clear effects tool to wipe them out if you don't want them. I only recommend adding effects to your map at the very end. Let me explain why. Effects are really resource intensive on your maps. So it's a good idea to wait until the map is finished, built, all the rooms, all the objects, all the trees, everything. Then file, save as the map, split it into two. So you have the master map, which is the one you keep as a backup, and then the one you add effects to. Because effects are very resource intensive, use a lot of your graphics and RAM and whatnot, so you want to make sure you do that at the very end. That way your build isn't running slow the whole time. Arthritic, welcome. You're from Detroit? Awesome. I've always wanted to visit Detroit. Such rich history there. I recently watched a TV show that was allegedly based in Detroit. But you're never late when you come to these streams. You arrive exactly when you were meant to. By the way, my name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. During these streams, we have several segments, cover things like support and questions, showcase maps from the community, cover various features within Dungeon Alchemist. It's essentially a 2-hour tutorial and tour and welcome mat to our community. But we do this stream every Saturday. We also offer a stream every Monday called Mapmaker Monday. A little bit different tone with that stream. We build a map live. Currently, we're building, what is it called? I remember the name. I don't remember the name. Temple Ruins. So I'm building some temple ruins in a jungle. And that map is pretty much done. I'm hoping within the next stream or two that'll be done. But we build it live. You can ask questions during the stream in AMA format, so get support and guidance, and watch a map built live by someone with over 3,000 hours of experience with Dungeon Alchemist. So what I was watching recently was a show called Detroiters, which is a comedy show based in Detroit, and it's about an advertising agency. And allegedly it was filmed in Detroit for a lot of the scenes. It just looks so pretty there. But I mean, I don't know. I don't live there, so I could get word from someone who does right now, potentially. Purchased 2 days ago. Well, fantastic. You got it on the sale then, huh? Welcome to the Damn Fam, as we like to say. When you use Dungeon Alchemist, when you make a map in Dungeon Alchemist, it's saved as our proprietary file format, which is a .dam file, which stands for Dungeon Alchemist Map. We lean into that a little bit. We have fun with it. Damn streams, damn challenges, damn fam. Anyway, so if you hear us saying damn on the stream, it's more of a joke than anything. And us having a good time. What's your favorite thing about Dungeon Alchemist so far, Arthritic and Pikey? And Pike. I want to ask you both, actually. You know, we used to let people decide. I'll let you two decide. Would you rather be in the damn fam or the damn nation? There's two factions within our community. The damn fam is the more like prevalent faction, but the damn nation also exists. There's no competition or anything. It's just for fun. Really, I don't mean to put pressure on either of you being new members in our community. It's just fun. But yeah, both of you just recently got DA and are new to our community, so welcome, welcome. The Demigods? Dang, Seisu. Dropping a new... cool new, damn phrase. You like damnation? Tropism? That's a fun one. It also has like several levels to it, right? Because like damnation, because it's like damn and nation, so it's like the nation of the damned. And then you have damnation, which is a word on its own, right? Arthritic, isn't it so fun to import your own 3D models? So do you have some experience crafting, sculpting 3D models then? I like the statues at the top. Jim, you're hardly a noob nowadays. You've been with the community like over a half a year now. You're like one of our regulars on the stream now, whether you like it or not. We got you hooked. Yeah, like close to a year, right? Been modeling and texturing for 20 years or so? Well, that's fantastic. Then you'll fit right in our community. Our community. Are you a member of our Discord by chance, Arthritic? Great place to share your models once you've uploaded them, or maps. Also great place to get support when the streams aren't live. You can ask questions in our question forum or get technical support in our support forum. See the latest and greatest teasers from our devs and myself. And of course, just get to know our amazing community. You were lurking for months before then? Dang, Chim. It's impressive. I wonder what I did to get you to finally start talking. I always wonder what I do that finally breaks the seal with a lurker. It's different for every lurker, and it's always so interesting. If you don't mind sharing. Pike, you like the 2D and 3D modes? Building in 3D is so convenient because you can see it at all angles. Obviously, you're going to play in a top-down 2D mode, right? At the end of the day, that's like the traditional gameplay mode for top-down tabletop games, right? But I'll be honest with you, it's always so nice to be able to get in an angle and put something in place, even if you only intend to see it from a top-down or a limited 3D perspective. The banter? You're sure it's not the singing? Yeah, Mondu's a character, isn't he? So, y'all, I've been quizzing my DM during our downtime because my player has the Cartomancer feat, which allows me to cast spells that I don't even know as long as they're in action and I have a spell slot that high, and it's from a class I am. Like, so I'm currently a multi-class with Artificer and Wizard, so I can cast up to level 4 spells as a Cartomancer feat. And I take advantage of that sometimes in our downtime for silly reasons, right? So one thing I've been doing is we have a portable hole as our group, and we're transporting this kind of dangerous magical, wondrous magical item that we got in a dungeon called the Black Sigil. It's essentially the book from Gravity Falls with the hand on it, you know? And it is cursed. You don't want to attune to it. There's like an entity, a shadow entity living in it that not only steals your shadow permanently, but if you die, you turn into dust and can't be resurrected once you're attuned to this book. Also, if you roll a 1 at any time, the shadow comes out, takes control of your character sheet for like a round. So basically, this book is bad news, and my character is paranoid about it. So I have been studying it and doing what I can to make it like minimal impact on our party. First off, after I figured it was cursed, wouldn't let anyone into attune to it, I have changed its magical signature using Nistel's magic aura, so now it looks like a mundane book. And I wrap it up in lead and then shove it in a portable hole, which the portable hole handkerchief is hidden in a secret pocket in the hem of my sleeve that I made. It's like completely hidden away. But I wanted to be even more paranoid with my character because in the beginning of our campaign, we were all imprisoned and met in a prison cell, and all of us were wrongfully imprisoned. And my character's been paranoid ever since then about getting imprisoned again, or, you know, held against his will, or being in a situation he can't control, right? And that's kind of a quirk he has now. Kind of a downside, if you will. But he wants to be prepared for any eventuality, and we did some intel because we live in a bastion and we have like a library and we have people who can like research information for us. So we got a bunch of like intel about our new location and information about it, people in the area, any cults or bad news bears in the area. And it comes to find out there's a cult in the region who's actively seeking this book that we recovered. And now we made it easier for them to get because it's not in a dark dungeon protected by layers of security. It's outside on us. So that's why my character went to the extra lengths to protect it and hide it. Because I don't want anyone jumping us or stealing it from us when we're not awares. So basically, I have been working with our DM because I want to make a stone safe for this thing inside of the portable hole. So it's not like something you can just grab and leave with, right? I want it inside of a stone box, particularly granite. And I have access to the spell Stone Shape. So I asked my DM how much 7,000 pounds of granite would cost as a square of granite that's roughly 3.5 feet on each side, or 3 feet 4 inches on each side. At the time right now, Pike, I don't think there's any plans for full 3D exports or 3D game support. Though there are many in our community who run their games directly within Dungeon Alchemist to get it to take advantage of the 3D angles and 3D views. Some even play using VR or, you know, whatever, play on TV tabletops, etc. There is no multiplayer support within Dungeon Alchemist at this time. It is not necessarily a game or a virtual tabletop. It's a map making tool. So you build maps in it, and it is an immersion tool, which allows you to capture images and video at different angles that you can use as handouts for your players, or, you know, things to give them in between sessions. You can also, you know, stream video to your players of, say, that drone view or a first-person perspective over Discord or Zoom or Teams or whatever. So your players can see this view from their own eyes. 3D based gaming, it wasn't something we intended when we designed Dungeon Alchemist. So at this time, to make it work with like a 3D export, we'd have to essentially gut it from top to bottom, redesign the framework and foundations from top to bottom to make it work for 3D exports. When you export a map as 3D and currently in DA, and this is something we've done on our own end on the dev side, it's just a bunch of like undetailed blobs, because Dungeon Alchemist is a lot of smoke and mirrors, like these heavily detailed walls. This isn't a 3D asset with all of these angles and vertices on it. It's a flat wall with really brilliant wallpaper on it, i.e. texture mapping is what they call it in 3D modeling. So even like this sculpture here, it looks like it's a very detailed 3D object. It's really just like a simple square with some brilliant texture mapping. So I'm not sure if we'll ever fully evolve into a 3D gameplay space, but the future remains to be unseen, and we have no idea what the future holds. With Dungeon Alchemist development, we definitely want to dive into the virtual tabletop space or the gameplay support space with like Fog of War, dice rolls, etc. at some point. So who knows? Maybe it will be a fully 3D immersive virtual tabletop. We'll see. All right, everyone, I'm looking at the time frame. It looks like it's time to wrap up. We have had an amazing stream today. I had so much fun hanging out with you all, getting to know some new viewers, new members of our community, exploring Dungeon Alchemist with you all, explaining its mysteries and deep faceted features that you may not understand or know right out the gate. Remember, these streams are a great way to learn Dungeon Alchemist every Monday and Saturday, but you can learn Dungeon Alchemist from our social media and in our Discord during the downtime between streams. So if you have questions, concerns, need guidance, have feedback, please jump into our Discord or follow us on, your preferred social media platform, and we will provide you assistance and guidance throughout the week. Our next stream is Monday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. That is the Mapmaker Monday stream. Let me show you what we're working on currently. I've only worked on this for 2 streams so far. So roughly about an hour each stream, so about 2 hours of work. And I think it's coming along nicely. The singing is why you stayed. Chim, I get it. I have one of those voices and faces that you just can't stop listening to or looking at because it's mostly just entertainment and horrific at the same time. Like, I can't stop looking at it, but I have to, right? So this abandoned temple here is what we're working on Monday. We'll be doing some more work on this, making it look more abandoned and worn. We have some growth where plants are breaking through, the ceiling. We have collapsed pillars and walls. All of this is stuff I'm showing you how to do on the stream and answering questions in real time during the stream. So if you have any questions, need guidance, support, remember those stream Monday is hosted in AMA format. So you can tune in, watch a map built live, and get guidance in real time. Really, really loving this build so far. Thank you everyone for being here. I hope you have an amazing weekend. We'll see you Monday, which will, let's see here. Let's look at the calendar, which is our last stream for the year, the 29th. And then we'll be seeing you again next week, our next, I am behind a week. Sorry. It's the 20th today. I'm looking at the 27th for some reason. So 22nd, we have a stream. 27th, we have a stream. 29th, we have a stream. And the 3rd, we have a stream. So every Monday and Saturday, right? But the 3rd is a very important stream. Our next guest, we thought our last 2 guests were amazing, right? Community guests and moderators guests. We had Asmodeus and Sack, but guess who our next guest is? Wim de Hare, the creator and lead artist for Dungeon Alchemist. So he conceptualized the idea for Dungeon Alchemist, created it, worked with Carl, who is our lead developer, to develop it, and they've been working on it for the last 5 years together. So if you have questions about Dungeon Alchemist, its development, its history, you want to peel back the curtain and learn more than you ever could potentially learn about DA, that stream on the 3rd of January is when you want to tune into. 2 weeks from today. Our next Saturday stream on the 27th is the Dam Challenge, which is, the current theme is 'Tis the Season. You've been seeing it marquee across the bottom of the stream the whole time. What that means in English is you use that phrase as inspiration You make a map of any shape or size, and you submit it to our Damn Challenge channel in our Discord. The Damn Challenge is an ongoing map making contest we host every 2 weeks. Current theme, 'tis the season, kind of a holiday vibe, winter vibe. Make a map following that aesthetic. Submit it before the deadline, which is end of day, December 26th in your time zone, so 11:59 p.m. in whatever time zone you reside. Make sure you submit that map to our Damn Challenge channel. There's some rules pinned at the top of the channel that you must adhere to for your map to qualify, i.e., name the map, upload it to the Steam Workshop, etc. Give a description and some images. Other than that, though, as long as you follow the rules, submit your map, you have a chance to win our bi-weekly Damn Challenge, which puts you in the running for a $10 Hero Forge gift card, a chance to have your map featured first on the stream before anyone else's, i.e. the highlight of the stream, and also featured in our weekly newsletter, the Cartomancer Chronicles. As you can see here, our most previous winner, Tropism, who was watching earlier, their map Temple Mishakal was the winning map in the Damn Challenge, which was the Healing Damn Challenge. They won a gift card. Their map was featured in our newsletter and the first map featured on the stream. Anyway, thanks again, everyone, for being here. I hope to see some more entries in the Damn Challenge in the next 6-7 days. Remember, end of day on the 26th. Get it submitted before then. Anyway, thank you, everyone, for being here. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. We're going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad, which I'm sure most of you will find quite hilarious. And then we're going to wrap up the stream and we'll be back Monday. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Appreciate you so very, very much. Did I just do... No, I wouldn't willingly do it. Okay, let's run that Dungeon Alchemist ad, and we're gonna take a break. See you later, everyone.
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Goyak-Ta, and before...
What do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him.
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever, find family, kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Okay, well, won't be needing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have to the
Fabled realm of Goyak-Ta. Please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map maker, on Steam today.
All right, thank you, everyone, for being here. We'll see you next time I give a damn Mac out. Bye.